Well, hello, folks. Uh, yeah, enjoying the summer heat and taking some rides, going to some events. Generally enjoying the summer here while watching all the goings on around the world. The whole thing makes me think a lot about agency. Um, I think of agency as, not like a free will and determinism type thing or free will or any of those like questions of physics and quantum mechanics and all that kind of stuff. But just in terms of the normal pedestrian uh, idea of being able to make a choice with conviction, choices with conviction in the sense that you are planning ahead, you have intention, focus, you've already envisioned an outcome that you want to achieve, and so on. So these require, thinking, and it's all an emergent property of human consciousness, the way we think, theory of mind, the way we behave, the way we survive, our evolved characteristics, and so on. Yeah, and I just wonder sometimes how much agency do we have? Like if you were thinking of people with agency, let's say the ability to determine outcomes in the world, to affect change or to uh, possess leadership qualities that achieve results in a given field, like let's say a football coach or something, or somebody who a CEO who realizes that he'll probably be a CEO for no more than 2 years, so he'd better do things to increase shareholder value within those 2 years so that he can exit with a good, pay package so he can make as much money as possible before he's replaced. Or leaders, world leaders like Xi Jinping or Vladimir Putin or Donald Trump or, Manuel Macron or Starmer, or any of these people who seem to have some power and therefore some agency, but then they would have to be very, very conscious of what they were trying to achieve. And I think of agency as trying to achieve something that's slightly personal. You have uh, a stake in what you're trying to achieve. Skin in the game, as Taleb would say. So it's not just I'm going to do what my donors ask me to do because and achieve results because I'm going to keep my career and make money and keep my status, but having something that is personal, intimate, and also maybe even a little bit bigger than one's own desires or ambitions, and then working to achieve those results, making choices along the way that are based on experience, wisdom, uh, knowledge, and so on. So you may have learned in the village from the elders, how to hunt and gather, how to build a fire, how to build a structure or something like that. Or you may have learned from your university education, uh, how to get a job in a particular field so that you can, earn money and buy things. I just think that we don't have as much agency as we think we have. So we're kind of, I've also been interested in this normalcy bias, where it's like a combination of delusions, cognitive biases, like um, cognitive dissonance, uh, gaslighting, purposeful strategies like gaslighting and so on. All these different things that go into kind of making us believe certain things and normalizing certain things. So after a while, war over here is just normal. It's what we do. strategic sequencing to prepare the ground for a war with China because it's a peer competitor. Oh my God. None of these things address overshoot or the polycrisis or global heating or any of the symptoms of the polycrisis. They just like extend the great game 2.0, ultra high tech AI, robotic great game another week or two, another quarter, so that certain people can make, money for yet another quarter. Um, But, I don't think many people really have much agency. I mean, obviously, you're managing your taco stand and you're thinking about what you need to do and where you want to put the taco stand today. And, you're making choices and all that kind of thing. Or you're Donald Trump and you're like telling Vladimir Putin before the meeting what it is you're going to tell him. I'm going to tell him to stop the war. Yeah, okay, great. I'm gonna say we have to swap some territories. What territories? What are you gonna swap the Donbass for Luhansk or what territories does Ukraine possess? I just don't get the swap idea at all. I can't get my head around it. But anyway, these are all just ridiculous, absurd narratives that are meaningless. I don't know if he has any agency. I don't know if any of the people do because they're all being buffeted about by their desires and their ambitions and their fear of losing their status. So their opinions change from one minute to the next. And all of these opinions don't matter anyway. Who has agency? What wise person has really the ability to make a considerate choice with conviction based on understanding reality, and having some strategic sense of what needs to be done, choices that need to be made. It's like changing habits, right? Healthy habits and all that kind of thing. How do we go about through baby steps, changing our habits if we want to change a habit? Like get better sleep or wake up earlier in the morning or get buff, whatever it is. Learn how to play Texas Hold'em better. Another thing that was interesting, I forget who said this recently, but he said that, I think it was Sachs, he said that China plays Go. That's a long game that requires strategic thinking. Russia plays chess, another long game requiring strategic thinking. And America plays poker. So each hand you win or lose, right? And you bluff, you lie a lot. Bluffing, lying is part of the game. And in America, it seems like these short-term games are really popular. And the lies are popular. I call it mental bollock syndrome because we're ingesting lies because we love them so much, because they reinforce what we believe and what we've been conditioned to feel is good for us or feels good. They tweak the right brain hormones and all that kind of stuff. And so we just gobble them up. I mean, Trump can say anything on any given day. Any of those leaders can say anything. What do they actually know? Nothing. They're just saying whatever's expedient for the moment to keep their gig secure. And so I wonder if that's agency, right? It's not like free will. And freedom, too. What does freedom mean? In a simple life, it might just mean the freedom to go about your daily business of existence in peace and being able to do things that you think you want or need to do on any given day without interference from somebody. I wonder who really believes they have freedom and agency in this world today when we're constantly being influenced and conditioned by all kinds of things. Obviously social media and AI and advertising, PR, propaganda, all this stuff. And also just wanting to fit in in groups and out groups and bandwagon effects and all these other cognitive biases and heuristics that we are not aware of. And so we can't even take them for granted. We don't even know what they are. So like a normalcy bias. Every day on ABC News, you have aviation well, incidents, and then you have shootings, and you have crazy weather events, and you have people talking about prices and all this stuff. And it's just normal, right? This is just normal. It's human nature. This is just the way things are. So you don't really think that much about it. And you go about doing whatever you have to do. But is that agency? Is that freedom? Are you really sensing that? And by the way, maybe you don't have absolute freedom or agency, but is there some qualia there? Is there some feeling, some sense of independence, autonomy, freedom? I don't think libertarians have it because they're so worried about, you know, all these gigantic, civilized, abstract constructs impeding their ability to do these wonderful, heroic things that they think they know how to do because they're extremely hubristic. And they think they're really smart, brilliant people who know better than everybody else. And if people just left them alone, they'd be fine. Same thing with regulation and all that kind of stuff. I want to make money the next quarter. I want the stock price to go up. I don't care about safety or customer service. All this sludge that we have in our lives today to convince us to give up benefits, to just abandon the car and buy a new one because we can't get Ford Motor Company to help us with the issue that our car just shuts down randomly. And people hang up on you at customer service. You know, there's nothing you can do about anything. And that's another thing about crypto and all these complex systems and currencies. You can't do anything about any of it when you get robbed or ripped off or hacked or anything. There's nothing you can do. There's no customer service. There's no way to handle it. I just don't believe we have the agency that we think we have. And to have agency, I think you need to understand your place in nature and your place. You have to have a healthy understanding of reality, and you have to be able to kind of have some intention and strategic thinking and some understanding of what it is that's important, not just to you, but to everything. So Eric Lee was talking about on a post today, Tom Murphy was saying, instead of Anthropocene, we should call it biopic. And then Eric pointed out that biopic sounds like a biological movie, you know, biopic. And that's anthropocentric or human supremacy. So that doesn't get us to understanding nature. So we're looking at complex, emergent, living systems and so on. So I made up another word. What was it called? I can't remember. And said I would name my goat after it. It's an acronym about, you know, we should call it something else. I made up an acronym anyway. It was silly. But the point is we don't understand our place within the fabric of living systems. We don't get it. So we're just so supremacist oriented and always have been. And lately I've been studying yet again the Vietnam War because there's so many good books on it and deep dives from multiple perspectives that really, really shed light on what happened and give you a sense of the total picture. So with certain historical events, geopolitical events that you can look back on 50 years later, you can get a lot of information. There are lots of good books about our experience in Afghanistan also, but it's still more fresh. But 20 years in Afghanistan, why? Who decided that was important? Why? What were all these agencies at work at the time? People talk about phenomenology and that being one of the key experiences in that set apart human consciousness and so on. Whatever, you know, at the end of the day, none of us are really understanding reality or making any real decisions. And we get stuck in habits. We get stuck in ways of thinking and worldviews. We don't question them, so they're just kind of sitting there, a kind of automatic operating system in our mental bollock syndrome that keeps us going. And we have no clue, right? Do you really think Donald Trump has agency? You think he's playing Go like Xi Jinping or chess like Vladimir Putin? Or is he just playing poker? He's a silly man. He's totally silly, and yet we tolerate him because of normalcy bias. Is that agency? I know nobody has the courage to stand up to business as usual and fight to change it, even if we understood what we wanted to change it to. And some people in collapsology and overshootology space believe that the only thing that's going to happen is nature will sort it out. I call it the dictator, also known as circumstances. A whole bunch of us are going to die. Maybe there'll be 1.5 million people left on the planet at the end of the day. And hundreds of years from now, when the Earth has kind of bounced back to some degree, and we can't discuss novel things that we've created along the way, like plastics and PFAS, and what the long-term effects of those things are. Bioremediation is complex, and we don't know what's going to happen, but maybe in the future there will be hunter-gatherer communities running around, like the Jomon that I talked about, or the Hansa that people talk about, or whatever. And we'll be living like that again, who knows? But I would imagine that we'll just reboot our desires to have everything. We're not going to like slow down and be all Buddhist about things, or develop our own beatitudes to live in peace. Most people want to live in peace, but people with agency, with ideas about strategic conquest and control, come along and say, hey, Vietnam, you can't live in peace. We want you to do things our way, and if you don't, we're going to bomb the freaking hell out of you, burn your villages, kill your men, women, and children. And we don't give a shit about that because we're doing it for the right reasons. Ask people like Sam Harris. And so, the normal thing going on in Gaza and the West Bank and Syria and the Middle East and Lebanon and whatever is just what it is. You have to make the world safe for global Anglo capital. And that's all that matters. It's normal. It's normal. And on any given Saturday, if you can go to a college football game and your Gators or your Buffaloes win the game, you're bloody ecstatic. Your life is perfect. And if they lose, you hate the coach, you hate the quarterback, you get all excited and angry and wound up. All those wonderful little brain hormones get stimulated and overexcited. Is that agency? I mean, you really have to think about the depth of awareness one would have to be able to make any choice with conviction that's grounded in an understanding of reality and nature and complex living systems with emergent qualities, or whatever you want to call it, right? Biopic. We're living in the biopic. What we're doing is living in the Anthropocene because we are human supremacists and we do things. Human beings want to do shit. We want to act out. We want to create. We want to conquer. Unfortunately, we have that kind of agency, and we're going to do shit regardless of the consequences. And so, unfortunately, we are living in the Anthropocene, and we don't understand the biopic. And so, come what may, our species will go away, just like every other species of hominid has become extinct. And it's okay. Who cares? I mean, it's going to happen in 10 years. Big deal. or it's going to happen in 50, or it's going to happen in 100. These climate change experts who talk about 1.5. Climate change and global heating is just one symptom of what it means to be civilized human beings. And you can go back to Herodotus and read his histories about whatever, Greece or whatever. You can go all the way back to prehistory from anywhere in the world, throw a dart at the map, Egyptians or Persians or Chinese, and you can read the narratives and understand that, we've been collapsing the biopic for generations, for thousands of years. And we're just in a state right now of accelerationism on all fronts. So if we're accelerating all of this collapse, all of these mechanisms of collapse and overshoot, what agency do we really have? What can any of us do about it? So that's the thing. We can't do anything about it. So let's have the conversation. Let's audit the conversation. Let's blog. I want to do a video or I want to write a post about too many cooks in the kitchen, because we have all of us, like myself included. And I am also an H narrator like Eric Lee, just some dumbass guy telling stories too, trying to figure shit out, trying to understand things. And what agency do I have to affect anything? Am I going to click up with people in my neighborhood to fight the powers that be, to try to replace business as usual with something else? And what would that look like? And I would have to say, look, billions of us are going to have to die. So we're going to have to voluntarily decide not to have any more children and just to die natural deaths and kind of disappear while we consume much less, live simpler lives, go to the Nate Hagen's great simplification thing. But we don't, Nate doesn't, and Jim Rutt and all these cool guys with podcasts, they don't want to simplify anything. Their whole life is dependent on complexity. It's exciting to talk about it. So we want to talk about economics. There's nothing to talk about there. Obviously, we have to make money and all that, because the only way we live now is by buying things. That's all we know. And we buy the best friends we can afford. But, they're just talking about cool shit because it's cool and it gets an audience. People want to do cool shit. They don't want to talk about simplifying anything. So at the end of the day, the only agent in our biopic, of which we're part and parcel, human beings, this one little species, our biopic agency basically is determined by circumstances that we really don't have much control over. On a micro level, and in some cases, depending on how you illustrate things, macro level, we are determining events and outcomes. But do we really understand what we're doing? If we really understood what we're doing, do you think we'd be doing it? Hell yeah, because it's fun. Because we like our car, and our kids are going to Yale. So it's all good, The idea that we pine away about posterity or give a shit is ridiculous. And even if we were hunter-gatherers, it'd be like one precarious day after the next, just trying to get enough food and water to survive, spending all day long making shelters and fires and gathering food and stuff and wandering around, shifting camps to survive. And it's like, yip-de-doo, that sounds like fun. That's why the Tesgreel types don't give a shit. They want to accelerate everything, and their biggest hope is not Jesus is going to come down, even though people like Peter Thiel pretend to be religious, but that their technology is going to save the day, or at least make them immortal, because they're so egotistical. The world couldn't live without little Bulliam T. Couldn't survive without me. I'm so important. So, that's the way it goes. Circumstances will dictate. It's got all the choices to be made. And the atmosphere here, the chemistry of the earth, all of it is making decisions. It's doing what it does, however randomly It may not have intent in the sense of phenomenological human consciousness, but it has laws. It has ways of doing things that evolved over time. Eukaryote, prokaryote, whatever. And here we are in complex modern techno-industrial global financialized late stage capitalism or whatever, socialism with capitalist market characteristics. What does it matter what you call something? You know, people want to live in villages and grow rice. Okay, you got to kill them because they call themselves communists. Oh my God. I mean, who gives a shit? But we care because these narratives excite the right brain hormones and get us up in the morning to do shit. And they give us careers and money-making opportunities. Is that agency? I think not. Not in the way I'm thinking about it today, anyway. So have a good day. Think about what it would take to make a wise choice with conviction. I'm talking about moral, ethical, the whole panoply, all the little layers. And maybe we just don't have as much agency as we think. So have a good day. Booleam T, out.